what is the difference when you're leading someone in worship versus putting on a show? Is there like, do you notice the difference? Like, is there a nuance there?
Yes. I much prefer leading worship because I can fully embrace the fact that it's not about me. And I'd much rather like encourage a group of people, whether I know the group of people or don't know the group of people, to look past me and beyond me and to sing of something else that is beyond me. So it's a lot easier for me to lead worship because I can point to something that's solid and steady and true throughout ages. And if I'm performing and pointing to myself as a performer, I'm so inadequate and insecure, and that's really difficult for me to do. So there's a big difference, but at the same time, there's so much overlap.
Right.
And ultimately, if I'm performing as a performer, as an artist, it's still worshiping God, and it's still, even my performance is worshipful. And hopefully you look at me and you see God and the character of God through the art that's being presented. Mm-hmm. So there is a bunch of crossover, but at the same time, oftentimes if I'm given the choice between an alt-9 performance or like leading worship on a Sunday is like, it's almost easier, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because
I get to be full abandon. Like, it's not about me at all.
Yeah.
That's freeing. So
yeah, and there's so much to music where it's just the whole culture to it. And people's motives for being part of that culture is different. Like one of my cousins, who's like a brother to me, he's in a band, and he was saying, like, I was talking to him yesterday actually, and he was saying how like when the bars or the venues bring him in, they're like, sometimes he's just treated like someone who's trying to sell drinks for the venue. Like, that's how he feels. Like he's just like this thing.
Yeah.
Where it's not even about the art sometimes for the true artists who are actually making a living off of it.
Yeah.
So it's like weird because whenever you have music outside of the like a worship experience, at least it's assumed that we're here to worship God. Mm-hmm. Not all the time, but at least there's like an agreement.
Yeah.
But like when you're like in a music subculture where your like identity is part of the like the genre or whatnot, it's hard to know like why is everyone here? Is everyone here really for the art? Is people here because of the friendship? It's what else is going on?
Yeah. I have this creative philosophy that I based around the image of like the planet Saturn, right? Where I'm like, if I treat my art like it's the planet Saturn, I can get pretty clear about how and why I want people to engage with it. So in the same way that Saturn revolves around the sun, so my music or my art or whatever it is should always revolve around God, should always be born out of my engagement with God. And so when people who engage with that art become like the rings of Saturn, they revolve around the art that I create, whether they even realize it or not. They begin revolving around God as well.
That's cool. Cool way to look at it.
Yeah. And there's different rings, right? There's different ways to engage. There's different whatever. Whereas like if my solo stuff is like all just documented prayers, essentially, right?
Yeah.
So you can jam out to this and like have a good time. You can work out to it, but like whether you even realize it or not, like ideally you would realize it, right? You're engaging with my conversations with God, right? You're seeing God's shaping hand at work in somebody's life and going, well, if he can do that in this person's life, maybe he can do it in mine.